Saddle up your horses.
Pitter patter. Let's get at her. It is another episode of the Mainly Broncos podcast. And before everything else, make sure you hit the subscribe button for the MHRT network. And, we are pushing ever so more to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Make sure you also follow Jordan and Di as we are going to be getting y'all covered here on Titans and Broncos week. Should be a lot of fun. And Jordan, how you doing, man? We finally made it. We got through. We got through a little bit of our college football teams getting dubs. Your Miami team won. My Huskers won. But now the NFL season is starting. How we feeling, Jordan? We feeling good? The emotions are riding high right now?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we finally made it to Broncos game week. I mean, it was one thing last week to be feeling the hype around, my Miami Notre Dame game, but it's just a little bit more of a different feeling for Broncos game week, just because, man, the expectations and aspirations for this team this season have, I don't want to say gone off the rails, but we haven't had this in over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we talked about it before, but it is legitimately every single day we see somebody talking about the Broncos, whether it's winning the division or making a run. Like, it's every single day. And it's kind of getting me uncomfortable now. I just want to play on Sunday, see what happens. But man, it's just like I'm just anxious for the game.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it with Justin, and again, thanks again to Justin for hopping on the show last week and everything. That was a really good episode with Justin. It was one where we're really kind of like wrapping our head around the whole idea of the fact of, Broncos really haven't had this much optimism surrounding their team since 2015, or really under Peyton Manning. So what should we be doing? And the simple fact that it's such a young team still, with the amount of turnover, or I shouldn't even say turnover. This the fact that people have been staying, and the continuity is there. It's one where it's like, man, I want to it's like one of those things. Like, I want to believe this whole and truly drink the orange Kool-Aid. And I'm not saying we won't, because we probably will, because there's probably going to be a handful of cases in this show where the orange Kool-Aid will be flowing. Yeah. But I just think that it's one of those things man, can we just temper it down just a little bit, right? Because it's one of those things we as fans always love the underdog story. Whether it's been a preseason standout or a team that's, rising kind of above it all, proving everybody wrong kind of thing. We just love that underdog story.
Yeah, and I know, again, we're not necessarily underdogs going into the season whatsoever, but man, it used to be fun being that underdog, I guess. But yeah, like what we were saying, it's tremendous seeing the amount of support the Broncos are getting. And I understand we're still theoretically, we are still underdogs to win the division and stuff like that. But
depending on who you talk to, I disagree.
Yeah, which is also true. I'm talking betting odds wise, at least underdogs. But at the same time, I mean, there's so many people high on the Broncos, and again, we haven't had these expectations in a while, so we probably don't know how to act. And at the same time, I'm probably going to be contradicting myself here in a bit when we do our but still, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, to what Jordan is mentioning, every year, this is actually the first year he will be doing it on Mainly, but we are going to be doing our division winners, and we were also going to be doing our award predictions. So it's going to be a lot of fun. one thing we actually even, I should say, forgot to mention on the show when it came out and they did they broke it, is we're actually going to be introducing a new award, and it is the Protector of the Year. And no, it has nothing to do with someone's dog at a house that you're giving someone's Protector of the Year, even though that sounds like something you would give your dog for being Protector of the Year. But no, it's the Protector of the Year. It is the Offensive Lineman of the Year, which, I will say, as much as it feels like that's going to be given to a tackle, just the simple fact that there is an offensive lineman recognition now
It's good.
is really, really good.
I like it.
So that is going to be near the end of the show. But first, we have the Denver Broncos against the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans are actually coming to Denver, and it will be a home game for the Denver Broncos. Obviously, one of the first things on the docket, and a very serious, point of commentary, Jordan, is the Broncos are not wearing white uniforms. They are not wearing white uniforms. No, we'll probably talk about that here at that very end of that. No, the more important thing is that the Broncos need to start fast. They need to start fast this year, and they need to do it for all intents and purposes in these next two games, right? Like in these next two games, this is really when it needs to kind of get flowing. The juices need to get flowing. Hopefully the offense can be in a much better shape too.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to seeing from the offensive side of things, and specifically the team, for them to get off to that quick start?
Yeah, and it's no disrespect to the Titans or the Colts, but if we're a team that's truly, bound for a deep run, these are two teams that you need to take care of. And I do think the Titans are going to be better than what a lot of people expect. And maybe the Colts too, to a certain degree, but that's still up for debate. But what I want to see from the offense is an actual run game. And man, oh man, we left the preseason with somewhat of a bad taste in our mouth when it comes to the run game. I mean, we didn't really see flashes in the run game that we thought we were. Again, I think they were very vanilla when it came to that. I don't think Peyton showed anything whatsoever when it came to the run game, or even quite honestly with the passing game as well. So I want to see how the run game is, especially on the first drive. I want to see how we pound the rock and how it marries into our play action game, which I think is going. I know I was a big advocate on last year. I wrote so many articles. I tweeted about it on being under center and utilizing that play action. I'm probably going to be that guy again this year. But I just want to see how that marries each other this year. But offensively, that run game, the outside zone stuff, I want to see how Dobbins looks. We'll finally get our first look of Dobbins in a Broncos uniform and actually playing. And then obviously Harvey. And then, Payne said in the presser, or at least I don't know if he said in the presser, but he for sure said on one of the podcasts that we're going to see players in different roles. And that includes players from years prior. So it's going to be fun how this offense is going to operate. But, I just want to see the offense pound the rock. And
it kind of gives credence to the idea that we shouldn't be wrapping our heads around this whole, Johnny Barron should be starting, kind of idea. That's just like the way I would take it. Because like we talked about it last week, like he's going to be seeing the field. He's going to end up, in essence, being one of their defensive jokers on the team. Like, so he's going to end up seeing the field, and for all intents and purposes, having 4 starting corners on your team, not many people, 5 starting corners, if you will, on your team, not many people have the luxury to say that. I think for me, we'll obviously talk about this, relative to the matchup versus the Titans. And I think the buck stops with the trenches in the Titans and Broncos game. It stops with that. But I think that if there's something in just the relative form of starting fast for the Broncos, they have to be able to generate at least some throws early on to get some confidence flowing for the offense. I think this is it may sound vanilla a little bit in the grand scheme of things, but I think we might see a fair amount of screens in this Titans game from the Broncos side of things, just in the scheme of things, to trying to get some confidence up for Knicks, at least specifically with Week 1, right? Because I think that was one of the biggest things, if you will, like in that Seahawks game that we saw last year was, Mike McDonald, one of the best young and bright defensive coordinators, in the game today. Like, he was throwing the kitchen sink at him, and they did a really good job of that. But we all know that wasn't the same bow that had they played 8-10 weeks later, it's a completely different story. So I think that it's going to be interesting to see how the Broncos handle that, right? Like, how do the Broncos and Sean Payton and the offensive staff handle that? So I think we might see a fair amount of screenplays, and I don't know what we'll see in terms of JK, but I think we will see. As much as I will say it's Week 1, I don't want to maybe get too overzealous on the idea that we may see Dobbins a little more than Harvey, but I think we might see a nice little balance between the two in Week 1.
Yeah, I think so. I floated out the idea that Harvey might be the first and second down back, and JK is primarily the third down back, just because of pass protection and not necessarily limiting J.K. Dobbins, but it's not allowing him to play so many snaps that you're risking injury so early on in the season. Now, there can be some pushback with that. As it's the regular season already. We got to go, like, let him play.
For sure.
But at the same time, we do have to, be careful.
It's
a long season. We have to be careful with some of our injury-prone guys. And unfortunately, J.K. Dobbins is one of those guys. But fortunately enough, we did draft a rookie running back that we're very high on. So we can give Dobbins those breaks, and he doesn't have to be our primary workhorse and stuff like that. So we don't have to run him into the ground. But yeah, listen, I think it's going to be very interesting Sunday, especially on that first drive. Listen, I'm a big fan of the screen game. I know a lot of people have their thoughts about it, especially with Sean Payton, because we've seen it not work and then work at times. But I think last year, I don't want to say it's more of a throwaway, but since we had no run game at all, we went more to screens just to simulate some type of run.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand teams can sniff it out from time to time. I think this year will be a lot different because I'm hoping with a new and improved running game, the screen game can open up a bit more, and they wouldn't be able to sniff it out as much.
Yeah, and I think that's one where, and obviously I don't think the Broncos intended for it to be this way, but I think for Sean Payton specifically, I don't think he intended for it to be this way. But I think that when you look at it from the way things kind of shaped out, it at least forced their hand to the idea of there were some games where they were able to sling it across the yard a little bit more than normal, right? Because of the fact that they didn't have a running game. And I think that it forced the hand in the way to this year to where ideally they want to run the ball. But the fact that they had that season last year and it was relatively successful last year, I think gives them the least possibility that, we don't necessarily have to be that one-trick pony offense, a one-dimensional offense that's going to be just predicated on that running offense. That if we just need to go toe-to-toe with teams, or we need to have, I'm not saying they're going to have these kind of games again. I mean, they shouldn't against that kind of opponent, but like if they ever have those kind of games with, the Cleveland Browns again, where it's like a shootout, almost like an arena football type game, they can, blow those teams out of the gym, or they can go toe to toe with said team, because they have the offense to do it. And I think that, I think that's kind of like the thing too for me is like, yeah, they probably weren't intending, to your point, like they probably weren't intending to use the screen game as much or just throw it all over the yard. But I think that knowing with what we have now with that running game, it's now, I think, gotten to the point where, okay, there might be a little bit more balance with this offense now because of that.
I think more of that balance we can also talk about is also not only just the run pass, availability and more of I don't want to say 50-50 split, but again, more of a balance. But also Evan Ingram now comes into the mix. Now it's not only targeting running backs out of the backfield and wide receivers. Now we also have a tight end that we can actually throw the ball to. So that's also going to open up a lot of things. And I'm not gonna lie, I think Evan Ingram is at the top of my list of like the most anxious to like watch play in a Broncos uniform. Is Evan Ingram, and it's not Pat Bryant, it's Evan Ingram, just because I think the thing we've been holding off the most has been Ingram. I know we saw that big flash in the preseason game, but I think there was a reason why we didn't see a lot of Ingram in the preseason, like getting targets and stuff like that. I think week one, I think Ingram's in for a big, big game.
I said it's a troll question here, but I mean, I wouldn't say it's over, but I mean, it would be one where it would be
Massive.
definitely disappointing with a cap. Definitely disappointing. And, knowing the fact that, we are so looking forward to the fact that Broncos country on game days they're so level headed, man.
It is
They're
probably one of the more positive like timelines I've ever been a part of.
very positive, right? Like very
Yeah.
positive. Yeah. So if the Broncos lost the Titans by double digits, I absolutely expect some very sane, some very level-headed comments about the Broncos. If they
Rally around each other,
really rallying around, or whether it be in Slack chats, whether it be in group chats or whatever. I would venture to guess we're going to be so level-headed if the Broncos lose to the Titans by double digits.
Especially in a year where, we're talking about potentially a Super Bowl and, just making a deep playoff run, stuff like that. Yeah, I think everything will go well.
So I think that, we've talked about it ad nauseum when it comes to these weapons. Where are you? Have you kind of done where have you done a little bit of a 180, or have you done a bit of a change necessarily as far as like how you look at the Bronco weapons? Because, right, like as you mentioned, Evan Ingram. To me, Evan Ingram is like numero uno as far as like weapon. Obviously, he's the tight end of the room. He's gonna make a huge impact. But have you done any sort of like change of that? Like, or is it still Marvin Mims is that weapon number 2?
When I look at the top pass catchers, which includes Evan Ingram in this, man, again, I don't want this to sound like bad or anything, but I do feel like Ingram is going to be that number one guy.
That's how I see it too. I think he's number 1.
But I think when not only us, but I think when other people will say that, I think people are thinking like we're trying to put down Sutton, which we are not. It is just more. I think Ingram fits.
Well, the keyword is weapon, not
correct. Like I just think there are more opportunities for an Evan Ingram to go off each and every game consistently than there is a Courtland Sutton. And that, again, that is not a knock. I just think that, that is just my opinion at the end of the day. So I think in terms of targets and just weapons, I think the number one weapon would be Evan Ingram, and then Courtland Sutton too. And then that third option is where it gets tricky. I think on some games it's going to be Troy Franklin. On some games it's going to be Marvin Mims. So it kind of just depends on, stylistic matchups and stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's funny for me, like the wide receiver 2 conversation. At first, it started with Devon Vele. That ship has sailed rather quickly. That thing crashed quicker than the Titanic. But like, I mean, so I think that for the wide receiver 2 discussion, like it really, I think at the end of the day, is going to not necessarily be, about like, oh, Marvin Mims is going to be your wide receiver 2. Troy Franklin is going to be your wide receiver 2. Like, but I think it's going to be one where I think I used this example for Mario, but it's like that money ball tactic. You have Courtland Sutton, who's going to be your wide receiver 1. And then there's going to be some games where, Troy Franklin might end up showing up as your wide receiver 2. Frankly, if there is a game where Franklin could surprise us all and have his first 100-yard game, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it very well could be this game against the Tennessee Titans. So I think that Troy Franklin certainly can have that kind of game schematically for what they wanted to see in the defense. Marvin Mims, obviously, could actually have that kind of impact. I think just in terms of, I think there's a difference between second weapon for the Broncos and wide receiver 2. And I think that's where Marvin Mims kind of falls in line for that. Like, I think he's like your second best weapon. And so I don't really want to say there's like too much of a change, but I think this the whole wide receiver 2 conversation, there's a pretty good, decent chance. And frankly, I think even Pat Bryant at times might actually show out and be your wide receiver 2 as well. Speaking of Marvin, one of my takes, and I actually mentioned this, Jordan, it's a bit of a hot take, but I think it's one where it also makes somewhat of some sense, given the fact of the running back room. And even though it is better, Marvin saw his niche last year. And although it was, a gadget type of situation, and it seems like they are exploring the idea of him becoming a little bit more of a gadget player, he did carve himself out a role. And that role was a very Harvin-esque role, right? Like where he'll do some rushing yards, and you also be used out of the backfield on some, wheel routes, or, even some screens or stuff like that, like in the passing game, to where he's an explosive athlete out of that. I have a hard time, at least initially, and I know we're going into week 1, I have a hard time going into week 1 knowing the fact that that part will change necessarily, at least like right out of the gate. So I say that to say I think that there is a possibility that the Broncos have 2 players of 1,000 scrimmage yards.
Wouldn't that be fun, right? I
mean, meaning like guys like R.J. Harvey and Marvin Mims.
Yeah, I believe that's. I think if there's any 1,000-yard scrimmage guys from the running back room, I think it's more R.J. Harvey than it is J.K. Dobbins. And again, it's not because of the talent of J.K. Dobbins, it's just because of and I don't even want to say limiting snaps. It's just more so I think the workload is going to shift more towards Harvey as the season progresses. But wouldn't it be fun to see a 2 running back backfield?
Mims and Harvey?
Yeah, and it's Mims and Harvey. Wouldn't that be fun?
I mean, we were seeing there was some stuff in camp, right, of JK and Harvey. Like, yeah. And so I think that's the part of it that gets you excited is we finally seem like we're gonna have some semblance of packages. Yeah. Last year was just like, here's Javonte. Carry us home, Javonte. We love Javonte, and certainly we wish it would have worked out, but it was literally just like, here's Javonte, here's our running game, have at it. Yeah. And now we can at least do up some packages of, maybe a Mims and a Dobbins or a Mims and a Harvey or whatever. So I think that they at least have something creative there where they can be able to work something through that. What are some other things that you look for in this game against the Titans offensively? So we touched a little bit about, getting them confidence with some of these short throws. I have to feel like some of this too is also is still establishing that running game, right?
Yeah, and specifically, I want to get more into the offensive line versus the Titans defensive line. And I'm not that worried about the Titans edge on both sides.
It's about the interior.
It's about the interior, exactly. I think it's more about Devondre Sweat from Texas, and then Jeffrey Simmons, who had some interesting comments about Bo Nix. I don't know if you want to be giving a team bulletin board material on a Wednesday, especially when you play them your very first game. I don't know, just me. But again, it's that interior, and it might determine the fate of what the offense does throughout the whole game. I've voiced my opinion on my level of concern with Luke Wattenberg. I am not worried at all whatsoever about Quinn Miners. And I know Ben Powers can be inconsistent, but I'm not that worried about him as well. My main worry is about Luke Wattenberg, and I think he has a very, very tough test with Jeffrey Simmons, Devondre Sweat. And I would even say when he gets in the game, Sebastian Joseph Day, I mean, he's another big body in there. Whenever he goes to
he's a pretty solid depth piece. I mean, when he was with the Rams, when he was with the Chargers, he's been a kind of a pretty solid depth piece. So to answer King Sailor's comment here, I think for me, Jordan, it's kind of like our question about wide receiver too. I think the slot is probably going to alternate some on certain packages, but I think if there's probably one common theme, one common answer here, I think might end up being Evan Ingram. I think is probably going to be in your slot because, to bring the whole Devon Bailey conversation back, as much as we want to kind of like smartly look at things between the lenses of, oh, this impacts everybody, and I think it does. They signed Evan Ingram, and I think that kind of spelled the end a little bit or put down the pecking order of where Devon Bailey was. So I think Evan Ingram is probably your slot guy.
It's also how defenses determine Evan Ingram. And what I mean by that is, like, are they going to account the Broncos being an 11 personnel, or is that going to be 10 personnel? Like, you have to decipher. Are they going to be like coming out in certain different packages? If Ingram comes out, they count him as a receiver or just a tight end. Like that's the tricky part about Ingram, which plays into our benefit. And I have full faith in Sean Payne confusing the defense and with Evan Ingram and his abilities. But it's also how the defenses play us. So
yeah, that would be something. Marvin going off for, if he does that, he just give him the AFC Offensive Player of the Week award at that point. Like that would be insane. Yeah. But back to your trenches thing. Like that, I mean, that to me is like the number one key matchup of this entire game. Like they have to win the trenches, whether that be the defensive line, which we know it should be good. It should be that elite defensive line that we are accustomed to seeing, for at some point in the season. It's gonna be a very good defensive line. The offensive line is still a very good offensive line, even despite some of the what seems like maybe that weak link with Luke Wanberg. He's still good enough. Like he's still a good starter. It's just how can we see that game be taken to a next level? And we mentioned it before, but Ben Powers struggled in preseason last year, and he really turned on and he became one of the better guards again. In football, one of the better left guards in football once regular season hit. As if I was a betting man, I would probably say that's probably the situation that's going to happen here again, that I think we might actually see a good version of Ben Powers. But it's really going to kind of hinge on those three interior players of Wattenberg, Quinn Miners, and Ben Powers. Like, can they be able to win in those trenches? And can they win against guys like Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat, who's a handful? I mean, like he's bigger than Simmons. I mean, there was us, right, Jordan, like ourselves included, who wanted to draft T'Vondre Sweat because he was such a nose tackle that he could literally suck up an entire defensive line all by himself. But I will say, I called this up on Pro Football Focus the other day, and interestingly enough, when it came to run defense of week 1 last year, Jeffrey Simmons had a 57.2 grade. And obviously grades are whatever on Pro Football Focus. Like you and I both know that. And people probably in the comments should at least know that. But like just the simple fact that like it's a pretty poor performance for week 1. So maybe it's one where, if you're looking objectively, Simmons is going to need a bit of a good game too. So like in terms of getting off to a hot start as well. So but it's worth noting that he had a bit of a struggle on that week 1. So I think that it's one where it's pretty obvious the Broncos offensive line needs to establish that mean streak with against the Tennessee Titans.
It's also going to be interesting which guard is he going to line up against. Is he going to be consistently on Quinn Minor's side? Is he going to shift over to Ben Powers, knowing that might be the weaker link, not only the run game but in the pass game as well? So those are going to be things that are worth keeping an eye for. But again, it's the trenches, and I loved the Miami Notre Dame game because, as everybody knows, I'm a big Canes guy, and our trenches is unbelievable. And watching that, there's you get such a gratifying feeling with your team, knowing that your trenches is.
You have two players that are all conference.
Yeah, legit.
Mm-hmm.
It would be more satisfying to know that the Broncos trenches, at least in this game, should. I will say this: they should dominate. I know that's a big, bold word to say, but again, if we want to be the team that we're being hyped up to be, these are the type of teams and trenches that we have to dominate and win. And I think these are one of these games.
Their typical run defense grade was 46.
That's not good.
meaning Tennessee in week 1 of last year. And it was against Chicago.
And Chicago back then did not have a run game.
No, they did not. So, I mean, I think ideally that is something that, the Broncos need to take advantage of. And
how many rushing attempts do you want to see, Cam? When the game's over and you look at the box score, how many rushing attempts do you want to see on the Broncos side?
So this is the other side of it too that I want to touch on, because I think that it's dependent upon when they use him. But I would say if they can divvy up the carries of Harvey and Dobbins between 15 each, right? Or, to begin the season, do 15 each. And then you have 4 or 5 carries for Bo. And maybe 3 carries for Jaleel, 4 carries for Tyler Bidet, but I think you really kind of show what your lion's share between Dobbins and Harvey is. And then, if you need to maybe, bump up Nick's carries, maybe just a little bit, or maybe even Tyler Bidet's up just a little bit. I would at least consider it, because the part I think is going to be so fascinating, whether it's in this Titans game or just overall in the season, is there is an X factor of this offense. There is an X factor for this offense. And I think we all know it. The ball knower should know it. This offensive gear hits another level when Nix uses his legs.
Yep.
And Nix should be considered more and more for his legs, and he's not. He is a very underrated player when it comes to using his legs and scrambling out of the pocket. Yeah, there may be times where he dips out of the pocket a little bit too soon. He was a rookie, but he still had a very low sack rate, right? He still had a very low sack rate, which is a tribute to his pocket presence, his awareness, his able to get out of pockets. That is very rare for a rookie quarterback. That happened with both him and Jaden Daniels. So I think that, for Sean, the thing I'd be kind of looking for is, do we see a little bit more designed runs? And I don't mean like those Tom Brady, jump over the pylon, or I should say Drew Brees, jump over the pylon, for, touchdowns, or, QB sneaks. I'm not talking about anything like that. But, the thing we saw against the Saints, man, right? The QB powers, or, some read option plays. I think that's where this offense could really hit another gear.
Well, and then also it makes that defensive end, or whoever they're targeting, to make that read off of, and has to make them be honest, right? Because if Bo didn't utilize his legs at all, they'll just be running straight to the
running back. Kirk Cousins, right?
They'll be running straight to the running back. With Bo, now they have to keep account, hey, if I do take off on the running back, Bo can take this and he can take it all the way. So, again, I think that would also make the running game a little bit more effective, especially for the running backs. So, I do agree with you. I think Bo's legs are going to have to be a factor, especially early on in the season. You just want to always be ahead of the chains. I think, again, he does a great job avoiding sacks and stuff like that. But, again, just a good running game. And I hope we have that starting on Sunday. is going to be very effective for this offense.
And I think that to go along with it in terms of just the offense and getting onto fast starts, one, and this is more the strategy, not necessarily like and granted, I guess it's still X's and O's, but like in order for this team to be a really solid top 10 offense, once again, they have to, they have to do a good job of putting themselves in the third and manageable about as every single opportunity as they can. I think, what is it? Even Peyton Manning said, if you are winning on first and second down, it means your third down is far more manageable, right? And so if they are in third and manageable a good amount of the entire regular season and even into this Titans game, it means you're affording yourself the opportunity to win on third down, which is the money down. There's no doubt that they call the third down the money down. So if they could be able to do that, then they will be an efficient offense. They will be a far more efficient offense than they were a year ago. And that just goes to the offense as a whole, which kind of lends itself to you got to, establish that running game with first and second down at times.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to get used to me saying this year that not only should we be under center and play action more, but also that, again, I think it's very, very crucial that we get first downs on early downs. And I've wrote about it on Predominantly Orange. The best offenses year in and year out are like Canadian football. They get first downs on first, second down. Like those are always the best offenses. I did a whole thing on it, like a whole article, and
go check it out.
It was fascinating, like running the numbers and just seeing how much success offenses have doing that. And again, it might sound very, common sense type, but again, I think a lot of people don't take that to account. But again, winning on early downs is going to be big, and staying out of third and longs, which I think the Broncos are going to do a good job of, just because simply of Bo Nix avoiding sacks and stuff like that, and not taking those dreadful losses and stuff like that. So I'm very confident in that heading into the season, and those early downs are for sure going to be pivotal for the Broncos.
I obviously my plan is obviously not to make this a Cam Ward type of segment, but I think it's just the fact that you've watched him at Miami, you at least know of what to expect for because you've seen him for a fair amount of the season. I think people need to be remembered of the fact that this is a guy who has gotten better every single season since he's been in college football, and that is dating back to Incarnate Ward. So I think he has the opportunity to be a really good quarterback in this league, That said, though, obviously the Broncos' main goal when it comes to Cam Ward is to make his life a living hell. That said, though, for you, can you give us a little bit of some insight on the way that Cam Ward operates, the way he ticks? Like, just maybe a little look behind the curtain of Cam Ward.
He is going to be – I know it's going to be his first game, and there's going to be butterflies in him. He's not going to show them, but he's going to be cool, calm, and collected. The thing with Cam, and which I love, is that he shows that confidence without verbalizing it. You can just see by his moxie and his swagger. But I will say, the times he did get pressured at with us, which was very, very minimal, because again, our offensive line at Miami was very good, and also he is very sneaky athletic, I would say, in terms of backyard football and creating plays. When he did get pressure, there were some, I don't want to say question marks, but like the yards per attempt went way, way down. His touchdown to interception ratio was not the same. It is a bit different quarterback in terms of getting pressured. And I think you can say that about any quarterback, but with Cam Ward, it was something to monitor when he was with us. And again, it didn't happen a lot, but I think for the Broncos, We don't necessarily. I don't think we're gonna have to blitz him on Sunday. I think we can get home with 4. But if we do blitz him, he is very good at deciphering where his keys are at, who's hot, and all of that. Again, it is now a NFL defense, so it's going to be a lot more different with disguises and all that. But I will say getting home to him in 4 will be big, and I think it will affect him, especially coming up the middle.
It's not a good thing when your left tackle, and I mean this from the Tennessee Titans side of things, it's not a good thing when your left tackle's been on the injured list or even didn't practice. So that's not really a good thing. And, the Titans offensive line is rough right now. I mean, obviously they have JC Latham, but he's changed positions this year. Like he was left tackle last year. Now he's right tackle this year. They paid money for Dan Moore. And then obviously you got Lloyd Cushenberry there, who might be their best offensive lineman, and so for Bill Callahan, being touted as the offensive line guru, the offensive line could really use some work. And so I think it's one where, you probably could get there with 4, I will say I would not be surprised if there's at least something up Vance's sleeve.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In the sense of like some exotic blitzes, and I would not be surprised if we see some cornerback sacks, in this game with or maybe even some safety pressures, like Hufanga gets in there, or Barron, kind of how they use him, or possibly use him everywhere they use with blitzes and exotic blitzes and corner blitzes and stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a sack on Sunday. So
yeah, I do have Cam Ward's stats when he was under pressure with you. His completion percentage went from 72% when he was kept clean to 50%. And then his touchdowns to interception, it was 30 touchdowns to 3 interceptions when kept clean. Under pressure, it was 9-4. So it is a drastic change. So again, I am also expecting Vance Joseph to throw every single disguises in terms of blitzes, coverages, all that. But I also do think getting there with Benito, Cooper, Allen, and JFM, and whoever else that we put out there will also do the job as well.
Are we overlooking the Titans playmakers? Because look, Tyler Lockett, there's a reason he's lasted long in the NFL, but he's also, as I've been saying earlier, he's a year closer to AARP. He's getting up there in age. Calvin Ridley is there. He feels kind of like a shell of what he once was. He may play the slot. He may not play the slot. You had Treylon Burks. They cut Treylon Burks. So their playmaker room is kind of taking a bit of a hit, and their running back room is essentially led when it comes to this game, Tony Pollard. That's it. Yep. That is it. I mean, obviously they got Khalil Mullings from Michigan as the third string, and maybe we see some carries there, for him on Sunday, but it is really just Tony Pollard. And I feel bad for the guy because I think he's actually a good running back at times, but it's literally just him. Like, it is literally just him. But so are we overlooking? And then we I've not heard a lot of people necessarily talk about the Titans playmaker room necessarily, but are we overlooking some players necessarily?
I wouldn't say overlooking. I mean, thankfully enough, we do have the defensive player of the year, and he's most likely going to be shadowing my guy, Calvin Ridley. So I think we can already put Calvin Ridley out of this conversation just because of what we know from Surtain. He usually wipes away that first option. And then after that, again, Tyler Lockett, and then they got the rookie from Stanford, which I can never pronounce his name at all.
That's right, Alec A. Manor.
Which I was also a big fan of.
That's right, we were. Yeah.
But it's supposed to be he's had a really good camp, which I'm actually very happy for him. But that leads us to Jaquan McMillan and Riley Moss handling those guys, and I like that matchup for us a lot. And even if one of them is not playing good, we have the luxury of a first round pick just sitting back there waiting to be put in the game.
So does that mean that we should be worried about Chig Okawanko?
See, that is more of a threat in my opinion. Again, the linebacker situation for us, I when healthy, it's awesome. But right now, it's not healthy.
Sean, for what it's worth, Sean Payton didn't seem all that worried about Dre Greenlaw today, and I will have to do some more digging. But it sounds like Greenlaw has missed every single Wednesday practice. So it might be something that
I hope.
but it's one where as fans, it's hard not to worry.
Yeah.
But it's pretty clear that Sean's not worried. But yeah, it's certainly easy to. But I think Chig is certainly one where I kind of I really liked it when he came out. Was it a couple years ago? And my comparison for him, funny enough, was a former Tennessee Titan, and it was Delaney Walker. Just because there was just so much use for him, or even a Jonnu Smith, and Tennessee had him too. Yeah. But there was just so much use for him. He's a versatile tight end. And so, yeah, if you're looking at something from maybe that playmaker side and linebacker side, I think that, yeah, maybe Okwanko might be the player that, we also probably want to, highlight there, because we also know too, the quarterback's best friend, aside from a good running game, is a tight end. And Cam Ward specifically being a rookie, I have a feeling he might be targeting Okwanku a fair amount on Sunday.
Yeah, and luckily enough for Cam Ward, I'd say one of the biggest Achilles heel for the Broncos have been covering tight ends.
Yeah.
So I think that's a matchup that kind of just favors them, I guess, historically when it comes to the Broncos. But I think he poses a bigger threat than the other playmakers that Titans have, just because I like our corners against their receivers, and I'll be saying that a lot throughout the whole season because I do believe we have the deepest cornerback room in the league. But I think Chig is also slept on,
nationally.
Yeah, nationally from the tight end world. Not a lot of people talk about him, so.
I don't know if we were having that conversation, but he was kind of a tight end that I was like, oh, maybe they should trade for him, in the realm of, trading for a tight end. So, yeah. So, and kind of looking at it all now, let's take this opportunity now and talk about that score prediction, or maybe a bold prediction, in this game. So Jordan, we'll send it off to you. What is your score prediction for this game?
So my score prediction for this game is going to be 31-10 Broncos. I think we come out firing. I think the defense shows that they are legit to everybody. I think the offense actually starts fast. It is going to be a magical start to this game, and I think all Broncos country is going to be through the moon watching this game. And then at the end, it'll slow down a bit. The Titans will get their 10 points. But I do believe that we will see enormous flashes from both the offense and the defense. So I have a 31-10 Broncos.
31-10. I said 27-13 is what I said. And I think that for what will happen in this game as far as a prediction, I think that there will be a pick six.
Oh, okay.
But it will not be from Pat Surtain.
Interesting.
I think it will be Riley.
Great start to the season.
It'll be a great start for the season to be shutting up the doubters that kept saying that he was, not as good as people think he is. So
let me see for my bold prediction. Let me go on the offensive side of the ball. And I mean, I don't know if this is really bold at all, if I'm being quite honest, but do think Evan Ingram has a huge game for the offense. He might have over 70 to 80 yards receiving and maybe a couple touchdowns.
And who is this?
Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram. Okay. You might actually see Broncos country and specifically that stadium be in such a frenzy that because specifically I just know that like Mario and I were on such a high, for that 58-yard pass after literally 5 minutes before we're looking at the Broncos offense being pinned down on the 5, looking at it like, why is Evan Ingram in the game? And all of a sudden here comes the 58-yard play. Man, if that happens, that's one where what's funny, I would not be surprised about that, because we know how Sean Payton operates, right? Like it's a very like, it's oxymoronic, but it's almost like a humble arrogance, but it's one where he wants to show like he knows his stuff, like he knows his his play calls, he knows exactly what he wants. And so with the idea in mind that he feels like he has his joker in Evan Ingram, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised in season if Ingram did have that 1,000 yards. I know that sounds crazy, and I know at times some Bronco fans have had that take, but I wouldn't put it past it, because this is the first time, maybe stylistically, schematically, where he's had a tight end like that since the Jeremy Shockeys and the and the Jim Graham went to the U, right?
Both.
No,
we should have taken Arroyo. Damn. All right.
but Jimmy Graham specifically, because he had a 1,000-yard season with the Saints, and a fun little like half-second bunny trail. He kind of set the market for wide receiver, tight end, franchise tag. I just wanted to
I would agree with that.
Mention that. But yeah, so I would love it if Evan Ingram was, getting those kind of numbers, because the more that kind of transpires, those kind of games, he's on track to be possibly a 1,000 yarder. So that'd be something. All right. Now we reach the point where we take somewhat of a step back on the Broncos. And we're going to do a bit of a dip into the NFL. And we are going to be talking about the division winners, who we think is going to be the division winners. And then we are going to be doing award winners. Who are the people that are going to be taking home the hardware? And for anybody that was there at, up top, we are also going to be doing the award that just got introduced this year, which is the Protector of the Year. So no, unfortunately, it's not going to go to Jordan's dog. Unfortunately. Yeah. But no, it is going to go to the best offensive lineman in the NFL, which, again, I think it's such a great thing. What do you want to lead off with first? Do you want to go into the division first and then do the awards? That seems fitting, right? Like,
yeah.
All right. So what division do you want to do first?
I mean, we can stay right at home and do some AFC West.
Do some AFC West?
Yep.
All right. So are we taking the bait when it comes to the Broncos winning the AFC West?
Listen, I even talked about it last year. My bold take last year was not to win the division. It was to sweep the Chiefs. And if we want to be quite honest, we should have swept the Chiefs. I do believe this year, barring any blocked field goals, that we will sweep the Chiefs this year. And man, I'm a sucker. And listen, it might sound like I'm looking through the orange lenses, and
you're gonna do it, aren't you?
I really do believe that the Broncos will win the division this year.
This is officially on record, ladies and gentlemen.
It is on record.
This is on record. Jordan has the Broncos winning the division. I think for me, the AFC West, for me is it's gonna sound one where it's like I need to see it, but nonetheless, Jordan was using enough foresight,
Yeah.
enough foresight, I guess, last year to possibly think, that is, for them possibly sweeping the Chiefs. But I will say the Chiefs still win it, but much to everything that people have been talking about, like the gap is closing. You know what I mean? Like the gap is closing, and I think the one thing that needs to be said. This is actually my take. I actually don't think. Maddie's joining us. I actually don't think that 12 that there will be a team in the division that wins 12 or more wins. It's going to be such a dogfight in this AFC West that I think that we might actually see a division where a team is 11-6, 10-7. Like I do not see a team winning 12 in this. So Maddie, we're just doing the division standings. But before we get to yours on the AFC West, what are your previews and look-ins for the Broncos and Titans game, and then prediction and for like score prediction, and then prediction for what happens in the game?
Well, obviously, Bo Nix is going to run for 150 yards because he can only do one read every play, right? You guys discussed that. We absolutely needed more bulletin board material to start the season.
Yeah.
Y'all, obviously, I would like to see better offensive line play. I would like to be able to see some wins and open some holes. But, boys, we got two running backs that can absolutely take advantage of anything the Titans give us. We will have a 100-yard rusher on Sunday. Typically, that wouldn't be a bold statement, but apparently Latavius Murray is the last one to do it for us. So yeah, I think we're going to get a running game established. It's going to be great. Bo Nix, probably 2 passing touchdowns. I'm not pushing it beyond that. Would it shock me if he, threw for 2 and ran for 1? No. And I will go ahead and make a bold statement saying that it's going to be like Euphoria. It's going to be like the special teams coach on The Waterboy, where he's just like that. We're going to have a 100-yard rusher, and Evan Ingram's going to get a tutty. And we're going to get some production out of 2 positions that we weren't able to see last year. So it's going to be great.
I said it on a couple podcasts that I did this week. Just to kind of bring it back, I really don't think people were talking enough about the impact and addressing that running back position, and specifically, the tight end position as well. So the tight end position, the running back position, like having that, I think is so impactful. So I would not be surprised if Evan Ingram, and actually this is fitting because Jordan, once you fill Maddie in on what your prediction was for that Titans game.
Yeah, I did say that Evan Ingram was going to get 80 yards and a couple tuds, with also a 31-10 win. So
a couple of tuds, 31-10.
Yep.
You putting your paycheck on that negative 8.5?
I think so, Maddie.
Okay.
So before we get to Maddie's division for the AFC West. Who did you have rounding out the division, Jordan? Because I obviously have the Chiefs winning, but it's the Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders for me.
So for me, I would, in my scenario, have, and man, I might catch some heat for this. It would be Broncos 1, Chargers 2, Chiefs 3, Raiders 4.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Maddie. It is your turn.
Okay.
Are you taking the bait? I said that to Jordan. Are you taking the national media bait that has just been dangling the last month about the Broncos winning the division?
They've done nothing but get stronger, building upon a double-digit win team. The Chiefs won literally on like every game was a one-score game, and every bounce, every call went their way. There's got to be, just by virtue of like how life is, that has to like come back down to earth a little bit. So like just by those two things alone, the Broncos are already right there. And then you look at increased development of a guy like Bo Nix. You look at additional weapons on the offensive side. The defense is just like, where's the hole, right? Like,
where is the hole?
I mean, you know, sometimes you struggle to find where the holes are. It's just, I'm taking it, man. Hook, line, and sinker. So I went through the Broncos schedule, and the floor is 12 wins. The ceiling is 14. Obviously, injuries and stuff happen. The floor is a lot lower.
Okay.
Right? You lose a quarterback. Obviously, that could change things drastically.
Man.
But as they stand right now, according to Vegas, even,
It's a 9.5.
there's a game, week 3, money line is even for the Broncos on the road against the Chargers. Week 5, the Broncos go to Philly. We're 4.5-point underdogs for that one. Okay. We're even against the Chiefs in week 11. We are 2.5-point underdogs on the road to Washington. And, you know, the home team gets gifted 3 points just to start.
Yeah.
So Vegas is even saying that's within that margin of error. And then the Broncos are a 4.5-point underdog on the road, rightfully so, in Kansas City, week 17. So like that's the 4 games that are really like,
man,
up in the air, 4 to 5 games ish. And so the 5, that makes the floor of 12-5. But like 2 of those games are even. So like you'd say, okay, well, maybe the ceiling, you know, it could swing the other way. And then the Broncos are looking at 14 wins. That's not me being biased. That's just me going by what the numbers say, what Vegas says. This is according to ESPN Bet. Well, 17 August, and it hasn't changed a lot since then.
Well, I got to say, this really warms my heart because, you know, for anybody that, you know, has been watching mainly Broncos over the years, knows that Mr. Pessimism has been down there on the bottom. So to see, you know, 12 to, you know, 14 come out of that mouth, you know, is music to my ears. I could actually just, because it's live stream, I'll just have to like play that over and over and over again. So how do you have it shaken out then? I assume Broncos winning the division?
Broncos winning the division, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders. But I will say, we like to dump on the Raiders. They may not win a ton of games, but I don't see them necessarily getting blown out every week either. Like they may be a really tough 6-win team.
Well, and so like that's my take on this year, Matty, is and this was before you got in, was I actually don't think a team, and this is a good trigger to where maybe the Broncos are favored to win the division, but I don't see a team winning more than 11 games.
I think you're wrong. I think the Broncos floor is 12.
No, but I'm just saying it's just based on how competitive that division is. Like, and because it's going to be a dogfight that I think, you know, you're going to be seeing so much in terms of like just, you know, teams basically fighting to the very end. And so one way could go any other with this division. So it's not going to disappoint. But I just have a hard time the Chiefs replicating 15 wins. But like I don't know. I'm saying 11. I'm saying 11-6 for the Broncos, but yet they still will finish in second.
I got them at 12-5. So,
and Maddie has them 17-0 until they ain't.
You know what? I'll say this: we get through week 5 unscathed. Yeah, that'll be the stance. If we get through the champs after just having beaten the Bengals and the Chargers, like, my mind's gonna go to some wild places.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to live on a timeline where we're 5-0, and the amount of just I don't even want to say shit. I just want like the amount of talk that'll be on social media. I would love to just live in that timeline.
Can we just stop the season at that point? I know that sounds like no, but
the problem is the Broncos are going to be 5-0, and then their next game's not even on this continent.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay. What division you guys want to touch next? You guys want to stay in AFC, or do you want to go to the other conference and do the NFC West?
I mean, we can stick with the conference. We can go to our week 2 opponent and go to the AFC South.
We'll go AFC South. We will go to one of the piss poor divisions in all of football, being the AFC South. What is with the South divisions? The AFC South just sucks. The NFC South sucks. No offense to Baker Mayfield.
Listen, I'll say this though: AFC South is like, it sucks and it's gross. The NFC South is like fun. There's a lot of fun to be had in that division.
Are you saying it's the Big 12 of the NFC?
Kind of. Honestly, that's not too bad of a comp.
Honestly, so this is how it shook out last year. Houston, Colts, Jags, Titans. I don't see it changing all that much. Obviously, I think all of us will have the Titans winning that division, but it's really kind of about how it shakes up after that, right? Because what will Danny Dimes do? All the Colts really need is competent quarterback play. I don't know if they're going to get it with Danny Dimes, but like if he's at least, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 games above Anthony Richardson, like that's at least good. Jacksonville's, I don't know, like they're a bizarre team. They have some pieces there, but and then you have Tennessee, which Tennessee probably will be finishing last in the division. So it's really between Indianapolis and the Jags of possibly where we have those guys finishing.
Oh man, I have for the AFC South in order. I have the Texans winning it. The Jaguars will be on them though. I do believe. I do think this is a
better year.
Yeah, better year for the Jaguars and a bit of a like prove it year for Trevor Lawrence. And I'm not gonna lie, there might be a tiebreaker in this last place, and I think the Colts will win it. But
you're not gonna do it. You're gonna be drinking that Cam Ward Kool-Aid, aren't you?
Listen, I am not a big believer in the Colts. I'm just not. I'm not. So they might end up with the same amount of wins, or the Colts may have 1 or 2 more.
So what are you doing? You doing Colts, and then you're doing Titans, or Titans?
I'll play it safe. I'll go Texans, Jaguars, Colts, Titans.
Well, if there's anything that you're teaching me so far this year, this is the first time you're doing it. You aren't playing it safe because you had the Broncos winning the division. So,
well, no, with the South. It's the South.
Maddie, what about you? What do you think?
Houston, obviously. The rest of the division is straight trash, homie. Like that's all 3 of those teams could have like bottom 7 records potentially. Like I could see a pathway for that for all of those teams. I still think it's going to be Colts. Then I take Titans, and I actually have the Jaguars at the bottom. And
Wow.
people are gonna be questioning, like, man, is it time for the Jaguars to move on from Trevor Lawrence? Type of conversations. Not because necessarily of him. It's just the virtue or the nature of the beast.
Mm-hmm.
Real interesting. Jaguars.
You're saying they don't move on from him, but you're saying that like there'll be conversations of the idea of moving on from him.
People are going to be. You're going to start seeing some Arch Manning, and he's going to rebound, guys. It was a tough environment, all that stuff. I've seen the memes. They're funny because the Texas can kiss my whole ass. Like, it's great.
Horns up, baby.
Arch is going to be back up there. You're going to start seeing Arch or like Lenora Sellers, like jersey swaps in Jaguars stuff come December, because people are like, man, it's time to move on from Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah.
So you have So you're saying you have Jags last.
Jags last.
And then who's second?
The Titans. Well, no, second from last is Titans, then Colts, and then the winners are
so Colts, Titans, and Jags.
Yeah,
that's actually way more spicy than your Broncos take. I will go with Houston, Duval, and then I'll go with the Colts, and then I'll go Titans.
You've been practicing.
Well, when you hear that, when you hear the sound bite ever so often, on, any sort of radio station or, anything. So I don't know. Liam Cohen, don't call me. I don't need to be sued for copyright. But yeah, so Houston, obviously they'll be a playoff team. I think if you're talking Broncos playoff scenarios, you pray this is the scenario of where we can draw. If we can have Houston and Denver as a playoff game, that'd be perfect. Obviously, we were hoping for it last year, but if we can get that, that would be more than ideal.
Have to be second round, homie, because we're gonna win the division.
There you go.
So that puts us at, from the AFC South to the NFC North, arguably one of maybe what used to be maybe like one of the toughest divisions to predict. Now, not so much. How do you go on this one?
NFC North or AFC North?
AFC North.
Okay, I thought you said NFC. Or as I'll call it, the SEC North, if we're equating these divisions to college conferences, and then the NFC North will obviously be the SEC. Other North, I guess, at this point. But obviously the Ravens, I mean, they are potentially the best constructed team in football. They're really great. I gotta go Bengals second. It's weird to not say Steelers there, but I go Bengals, Steelers, then Browns.
This one, so I will say, of any year, this actually feels like the smoothest of predicting the AFC North. Unless Jordan is thinking otherwise with that face.
Man. Oh, I listen, I am not a huge fan of Zach Taylor whatsoever.
You've been on record with that.
Yeah.
I think you egged his house once, didn't you?
Listen, I think the biggest mistake the Bengals made was not going all in on Vrabel. And I think that's really going to bite them. And there's just something about Burrow. Listen, I understand the defense is awful is not even the word. But I do believe this is how crazy my take is going to be. I have the Bengals winning the division. There may be a possibility where Zach Taylor gets fired mid-season.
And they still win the division?
And they still win the division. And I'm being so I'm not even joking. Like I'm not even trolling. Like it's like that.
I wonder what the parlay odds of that would be.
I would
Like
take
1,000's got to become a million. with that
I would take
scenario.
it. I would take it, but I do believe that Burrow's going to go on a. I know he went on a rampage last year. This year it might be just like something different. Again, the defense is a huge concern. But for some reason, I think the Ravens are the right pick. I gotta go on my gut. I think Burrow's gonna somehow, some way pull this out.
I'm gonna go kind of safe here. I think for me, like for some spoiler alert, I think that the division winners, I think for me, are somewhat straightforward. I think for the surprises for me are going to be maybe some teams that finish for where they are, like in that division. That might be some of the surprises. But yeah, so for like the AFC North, I'm gonna stay with Maddie on this one. Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, and then the Cleveland Browns. I think that in order for the Bengals to truly win that division, like Burrow's going to have to go nuclear. Like he's going to have to go like Peyton Manning, 55 touchdowns, and break a kind of record for him to be in that territory of competing for that division. And that sounds crazy to say, but like he is going to have to be, like I don't know. I will say though, my MVP might be from that division.
My MVP is from this division as well.
But it also may not mean that but I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying it might be in that division because I haven't made my firm prediction there. But I wouldn't even be surprised if, say, the Bengals finish second and Burrow won MVP.
Yep.
So now the AFC East.
Man.
You want to take this one and shout out your Florida fam and put the Miami Dolphins first?
Oof, I know. I will be going Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets.
Bills, Patriots. What about you, Maddie?
Bills, Patriots, Jets, Dolphins. So close.
Oh my God.
Dude, outside of a few showy pieces for the Dolphins offensively,
I agree.
God, they're awful. And the Jets actually have quite a bit like going on for them.
I do think Mike McDaniel will be one of the first coaches fired in midseason.
Wasn't he on the hot seat? I know it may not have been viewed nationally, but wasn't he kind of on the hot seat down there?
A lot of people are not happy with him down here. Let's just say that. And I'll even say more so, the general manager, Chris Greer, somehow still has a job with the Dolphins. So
George Payton's best friend, by the way.
I would not have him anywhere near this building.
So you said Bills, Patriots, Jets,
Yep.
Dolphins?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
is
close. I'm close to making some bold proclamations, but I don't know if I'm ready to go.
We can do it.
So this might get a bit spicy. Bills are winning. Bills are going to win the division. I have the Jets finishing second.
Wow.
I mean, I could see it.
Not going to the playoffs, but I have the Jets finishing second, then the Dolphins, and then the Patriots.
I don't understand that, but okay.
Because the Patriots have so much to work on right now. Their roster is awful.
They got a lot to work with, though. They've got some guys, and they've got a system now. I think that they're.
I think they are on the right track, but I think it's too soon for me, at least, to be putting the Patriots second or even third in division right now. I think the Patriots are. They just have a lot to work on right now.
I see the Pats being the Broncos of last year.
Okay.
See? Yep. Okay, my bold statement is they won't be eliminated until the last week of the season. They're going to be right in the thick of the wild card hunt all the way through.
Meanwhile, we're sitting comfortably.
Now, the NFC. We head to the NFC. Which one do you guys want to start with, the NFC?
Go back east to west.
So we'll go west. We'll go east
first.
Oh, east. Okay. So NFC East, what used to be one of the most complicated divisions to ever predict, still feels somewhat complicated, but also it seems also easier still. But it's just simply because of the resurgence of the Washington Commanders. And funny enough, maybe this is going to be a little bit of some spoiler for all of us, but for how it finished last year, I have a feeling it's going to finish that way this year.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the NFC East will be Eagles, Commanders, Giants, Cowboys.
Winner, chicken dinner. I agree.
Giants are sneaky good, man.
I mean,
he says
the sooner they hand the reins to Jackson Dart, the better.
Yeah, I agree. That front four, oh my God.
Dude, the offense is fun.
Yeah, the offense is fun too. Don't get me wrong, but that front four is disgusting.
It's ridiculous. They pulled the page right out of the Eagles' book too. Like,
I think one of my bold takes for this division, before you go, Cam, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants are on the Commanders' heels for the second place of the division. I'll say that. I'm a believer in this Giants team.
Are you a believer in Jackson Dart?
I think with Daboll, I am. I know Daboll's a youthful guy, but I think getting a guy with the charisma and moxie that Dart has and pairing him up with a guy like Daboll will be a perfect mix.
I think I'll take the bait on this one, and I'll go with you guys on this, and I'll say the Giants above Cowboys. But I think that there's a chance that Dallas and the Giants have the exact same record, or close to.
Yeah.
But the Giants will be finishing above.
In less than 24 hours, Dallas is just going to be getting wrecked. It's going to be a violation of every nook and cranny of that team on display in front of everyone. That's going to be so ugly.
Could you? What used to be a really hyped up NFL kickoff has now. It's gotten to the point where you were excited to see Micah Parsons, take the field on, the kickoff for that. And now, if you're a Cowboys fan, we're excited because we have a wide receiver 2 possibly opposite of CeeDee Lamb. And that's basically the extent of the newfound optimism.
Well, now they can stop the run.
So yeah, I will take the bait on that one, and I will follow suit, and I will say the Giants finish third. North. Now, what is the most difficult division in all of football? Is it the NFC North or is it the AFC West?
I think I have to go NFC North.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But it's close, but I mean,
the Vikings won 14 games last year and were the 5 seed.
Yeah.
Who wants to take this one for
I'll
NFC
take it.
North? All right.
Detroit, Packers, Vikings, Bears.
Wow. I think we might have very opinions on this one just because how stacked it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Vikings 1, Packers 2, Lions 3, Bears 4.
So Maddie went Lions, Packers, Vikings, and then Bears. And then Jordan, you went Vikings.
Yep.
Now this has nothing to do with, the Vikings being your second team, correct?
Well, I mean, my dad is a Vikings fan and stuff, but I will say I am a huge Brian Flores guy. I do think the coordinators for the Lions, changing and all that, I think it's going to affect them a bit. And listen, the Packers obviously got a lot better with Michael Parsons. Listen, it's a toss between Minnesota and Green Bay, in my opinion. I believe in O'Connell more than I believe in LaFleur. I think that's where it comes down to.
So Vikings, Packers, Lions.
Yep.
All right. And then Bears. So I will say I do not have the Lions winning the division because I think they regress. I think the fact that they don't have Ben Johnson there, and because of the fact that they don't have Aaron Glenn there, I don't think they win the division. I have them still in the playoffs.
Cam's like, I got a bold statement. I think the team that lost only one game last year is going to play worse this year.
That's right. But I will say the Packers take it.
Okay.
I say the Packers take it. And I will say the Lions and then the Vikings. That said, though, I think that you will see signs of JJ being the guy with Minnesota.
Sure.
Just because I just feel really comfortable knowing the fact that in that system with Kevin O'Connell that you'll see why the Vikings were pretty heavily invested in wanting JJ McCarthy. So, and as far as Chicago, look, as much as they added Ben Johnson and they have a lot of pieces there, I don't trust them just yet. They're a fast rising team. And I will say, though, and I will say this, and I know that, Caleb was with, the Sooners there, Maddie, but if Caleb cannot work with Ben Johnson, we have a Caleb Williams problem.
Dude, have you ever seen a young quarterback have more to work with in his second year?
Yeah, he's very lucky.
I mean, Peyton Manning had Edgerrin James and Marvin Harrison, and we no longer have Jordan. But dude, there's so much talent on that damn offense.
Yeah,
DJ Moore, Odunze, Burden. They have Cole Kmet as their second tight end because they just drafted Loveland. He has no shortage of people to throw to. Yeah, the running game may be spotty here and there, but Caleb Williams, there's no reason why Caleb Williams shouldn't be hitting 3,500 yards passing, 30 touchdowns every season.
Actually, no. Considering the fact that the Bears have not had a 4,000-yard passer, frankly, he should be hitting 4,000 yards passing with the amount of weapons that he has on that offense. But I don't know. But it's one of those things there was just so much cause for concern with Caleb last year. And obviously, Sean Payton mentioned about, how sacks are a QB stat. As much, and not to poke the bear too much, but as much as people were talking about the whole Patrick Mahomes comparisons with Caleb Williams, he's not Patrick Mahomes. He is. I mean, I think he could still be a pretty good quarterback, but we were seeing signs of what Russell Wilson was in Seattle, and at times even with Denver and everything, with Caleb Williams running around playing street ball and doing everything out of the pocket. You can't win, as we found out. You can't win all your games just simply doing that, because you're going to be holding the ball too long and taking unnecessary sacks. Just look at Shadur Sanders at CU. And as a result, he ended up being a 7th round draft pick, exaggerating. But like it's just not, he's going to have to get better inside the pocket. That said, though, would it shock me if, say, JJ kind of has a year that maybe an adjustment year and everything, and then the Bears finish 3rd? Not necessarily wouldn't surprise me. But I still have the Vikings finishing, because I have far more confidence in the Vikings finishing 3rd than I do 4th. And I'm not Colin Cowherd. The NFC South, Maddie's beloved division, with good old best friend of Boomer Soonerland, Baker Mayfield, who probably on numerous occasions when he was at least semi-available, there was a thought of, just like he's had numerous thoughts of CeeDee Lamb in a Bronco uniform, of Baker Mayfield wearing the orange and blue. Do they take this division?
Yeah. First of all, I wish I was best friends with Baker Mayfield. Second of all, yeah, thanks for bringing up old stuff, especially when dude was on waivers. We could have gotten him. The Panthers discard him, and he goes to play with McVay. And then, oh, by the way,
wasn't it Mayfield and Darnold at that point too?
Which is really funny. And then Baker proceeds to like go have his way with the Broncos, during Christmas. Yeah. So that's fun. You've got what, Patrick the Star just talking shit about the Broncos while Mayfield is torching us on literally like his 24th or 25th hour with the team. Barely even had time to get through the playbook, and he's just like, yeah. Anyway, Baker Mayfield stud, dark horse for MVP this year, by the way. I'm still considering going across the river here and dropping a little bit on that.
You should. I don't think it's a bad play at all. I'm not gonna lie.
It's there, man. That Bucks team, like, that's gonna be a tough ass out. So I got Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, Saints.
For me, I got the Bucks winning it. I got the Panthers 2, Falcons 3, Saints 4. Not a big believer in the Falcons. Terry Fontenot, their GM, refuses to fix up their interior defensive line. They passed on Jalen Carter. They passed on so many other people. I know they got Bijan Robinson, who's an absolute stud, but their defense is not going to stop anybody else again. I do believe in the direction the Panthers are going in. So I got the Panthers at 2, Falcons 3, Saints 4. But again, those records may not be pretty as well. So
not wrong. I like the Panthers as second there. Just because, like, I if there was something maybe that I wish the NFL Circles was talking a little bit more of, was the performance of Bryce Young at the latter part of the last year.
Saved his career.
Like, he kind of saved Canales kind of saved his career. Chuba Hubbard has really kind of come into his own a little bit. And if I'm being completely honest, they have sneaky weapons now. Mm-hmm. Like they kind of, I obviously I know that they had, Thielen, and they traded, Thielen away back to Minnesota. But like, you got, Tet there. You have Xavier Legette, which, make sure you don't piss him off, because you might actually rip his helmet off or something, in a preseason game. But But you all,
Jatavian Sanders.
Jatavion Sanders. You also they also have Jalen Coker, probably one of the most underappreciated wide receivers. That's maybe not just maybe in fantasy, but just one that's I know he's banged up, but he's one that he's really flying under the radar, and he kind of turned into Bryce's favorite target at one point last year.
Yep.
And Rico Dowdle, they brought him in.
So,
by the way, look out for Jatavian Sanders. I think he's gonna have a year for them.
So I may take Jordan on this one with the.
Because I'm just not a big fan of the operation with Atlanta, between the whole Bill Belichick spiel and how that whole thing went down and all the details that were uncovered after that. I'm not a big fan.
Actually, we are going to get spicy.
Do it.
Buccaneers are going to finish the division. Falcons will finish second and make the playoffs.
Oh.
And then the Saints will finish. Saints will finish last.
Where do the Panthers finish then? Third.
Third.
You said? Okay.
No.
I like Carolina too. I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think they're a year out from making that leap low.
Hmm.
I just like the Falcons thing because I mean, obviously they had nothing to lose, but the way Penix played when he was in, he looked really, really good. Like he actually looked good. And so to see that, I think for a full season, and I think that the reason why I'm high on the Falcons is just because the way that offense is constructed, maybe to a certain comparison to Caleb, I figure like collegiately, that offense that the Falcons have is far more suited to what Penix had at Washington, which was quite literally playmakers galore. With literally, a running back, a tight end who, fools everybody in fantasy. But they have Kyle Pitts there. They have wide receivers as all get out there that could possibly do some things. So the playmakers are there. And I think they kind of have a bit of an underrated offensive mind who's also here, who's from here locally, and Zach Robinson, former Oklahoma State legend. So I don't know. I am sneaky kind of high on the Falcons. I'm not saying they're going to make a deep playoff run, but I have them making the playoffs.
Defensive line may not be great, but the offensive line's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Saints.
So,
Is Arch Manning a Saint?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't even think Arch comes out in this draft class. That's my hot take.
I don't know if that's actually a hot take anymore. I think it used to be.
And I'm not saying that just because of what happened in the Ohio State game. I think all the talk after that game is a bunch of nonsensical bullshit. But I think he comes out the year after.
And I actually agree with it because it's just I think too, it's just evidenced by what Archie coming out and saying that he wasn't ready. And it seemed pretty obvious in the Ohio State game. He wasn't ready, at least at that point, but you still see the flashes, right? You still see the flashes. And it has also nothing to take away from the fact that the kid is talented. He is super, super talented. And you also, I think, have to put it into perspective of this is literally his first full college season. So I think it is in his best interest to not come out this year and have another full season of college football with Texas or wherever, depending on the whole NIL situation. But just shut up. But and then have a another full season in college football, and then that's when you can,
He's just going to come back because he wants to know what it feels like to beat Oklahoma, and he's not going to learn that this year for sure.
It's actually warm your heart that Oklahoma has a chance this year to beat Arch Manning.
John Mateer, get your stock now.
Jaden Ott.
Oh, dude, we got some dogs on offense. We are not going to be abysmal this year. I am excited.
I am trying to be excited about Nebraska, but I'm trying to temper my expectations.
Just play a team that doesn't play cover 3 and you'll be fine. Cover 3's terrible.
All right. NFC West.
I have some bold predictions in this. Not on who's winning it, but what happens with this division.
You want to lead it?
If I may. I have the Los Angeles Rams winning this division, which, again, I don't think it's bold at all. I'm a huge Rams guy. I have them winning the division. I have the 49ers in second, Seahawks third, Cardinals fourth. I am not a big believer in the Cardinals, despite others' opinions. But I do have the bold take I was talking about is I do have the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yep.
Look at Maddie. He's trying to like process all this information.
Man, is Stafford going to be able to even get out of bed by February?
Well, remember, he is a clone, so he can't feel things.
Oh my God.
But yes, I do have the Rams making out of the Super Bowl, health bearing, but
Maddie.
So, like, the NFC North is probably the best division in football because of the elite talent. They're like Lions, Packers, Vikings. We all said one of them would win the division.
Yeah.
NFC West, they're all just like collectively mediocre to me.
It's like my comparison, funny enough, is actually this is the Big Ten.
Like, I mean,
but in the sense of like this is just a tough it out, grind it out.
Who's the ACC? Like, come on, guys, what the hell?
The NFC East? No, the AFC East.
AFC East?
I don't know.
The hell?
No, the AFC South. Yeah, it's got to be the AFC South. Is the ACC
South? We're just getting
one good team, and then the other ones are like whatever.
So what? The Hurricanes or the Texans and Clemson, the Jaguars?
Yep, sure.
Jeez.
I mean, that's the ACC every year, bruh.
Jeez.
Disrespecting Jordan over here.
Damn.
The NFC West, I call it the Jeff Fisher division because they're all like a game under or a game over 500. Like that's how I see them.
So you have the Rams winning the division?
Honestly, today it's different than it was yesterday, and not for any reason. It's just how I feel in my gut this moment.
It's true. Because I might ask you that exact same question 5 minutes from now after you have a
Jennings just got $3 million extra dollars. He'll be happy. I'll take the Niners at the top, Rams, Cardinals, and Seahawks.
So 49ers winning the division.
Yeah, I mean, you may hate Atlanta's operation, but you can't hate on San Francisco's operation. Like,
so you said Seahawks and then Cardinals?
Cardinals third, Seahawks fourth.
Okay.
I want to talk about staying healthy. The 49ers.
I know.
That's every year. I feel bad for him at this point. Like Kyle Shanahan, I mean, God bless his soul, but he deals with injuries he deals with it before the even season starts.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
No, we're
one of those if they could only.
This one's gonna get spicy.
Don't you pick the Cardinals. Don't do that.
I will not be picking the Cardinals.
Good.
Seahawks will take the division.
Wow.
And then I have the Rams second.
Oh.
Then the Niners.
And then the Cardinals. Oh. I mean, Cam, you could put some bread on that. I think the Seahawks have the worst odds out of the four.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all competitive, but still.
They're probably like what, plus 650, plus 700 to win the division?
On Hard Rock Bet, they're plus 500.
So I like the Seahawks in a sense. I mean, am I investing too much in Darnold? Yes. But I just think that like they have pieces in a sense. Like, I mean, it's all going to still probably be predicated on health, but that defense should be no problem. They may have the best defense in that division. May have. Like even just from like the schematic side of things with Mike McDonald. And I think he's a fast rising coach too in circles. So we won't necessarily do like what's in the playoffs necessarily, but because we're running long. But who are your Super Bowl? Now, for the record, Jordan, since you're new, there was a point where Maddie correctly predicted the two Super Bowls in a row. So you have some tough competition here.
Okay, wait. Then if that's the case, I need to hear Maddie first.
Oh man. Okay. Maybe it's a little different. The Ravens are going to represent the AFC, unfortunately. I think the Broncos are a year away from being able to go toe-to-toe with Baltimore and Buffalo. Is just too much, I think. I think Ravens beat Bills in the AFC Championship game to move on to the Super Bowl. I have the Eagles beating the Buccaneers to get to the Super Bowl. So it's going to be Ravens versus Eagles. And I think that Lamar Jackson is going to cement himself as one of the greatest quarterbacks of this era. Outside of his regular season MVPs, he's going to be Super Bowl MVP. And the Ravens will win the Super Bowl.
I hate you because I think that was my Super Bowl prediction.
I mean, it may not be like spicy, but there's a reason why it's not spicy. It's because those teams have been.
But like, but if you're asking like one of my favorite Super Bowls that I would love to see happen, and it can happen, whether it had been last year, this year, I would love to see Ravens and Eagles. Like I would love it, just from the sheer like you know me, like I'm a Big Ten guy, so to see like the ground and pound like running style offense with Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley and like all of that in a Super Bowl, give me it all day, all day. Jordan's studying his Super Bowl pick like it's a March Madness bracket.
Go Cam.
Ravens and Eagles is mine.
Okay.
That's what I said, yeah.
Ravens over Eagles?
I'll go Ravens over Eagles. However, I will say that Lamar Jackson will not win Super Bowl MVP.
So it'll be Derrick Henry.
Nope. Kyle Hamilton.
Wow, Cooper DeJean-esque?
Mm-hmm.
One or two?
Mm-hmm.
Man, shots fired at Jalen Hurts.
You know I love Jalen Hurts, though.
Because you know ball. Come on, Jordan, you're stalling too much.
This is like a March Madness bracket, buddy.
All right, I made up my mind, and I was just trying to get the reasoning behind it. I got out of the AFC, I think it's going to be the Bills versus the Ravens. I think due to home field advantage, because the Bills play in the AFC East and the Ravens play in the North, the Bills will have the higher seed. The Bills will move on, and they'll go to the Super Bowl. I already kind of spoiled my prediction for the NFC. I have the Rams in it, and I do think the Rams beat the Bucs in the NFC Championship. So, by the way, would not be surprised whatsoever if the Bucs are in the big game. So I do have the Bills versus the Rams. Ultimately,
Bills.
I do have the Bills winning it. It would not shock me at all. I don't know why. I am such a big McVay and Rams guy, but I do have the Bills getting over that hump finally. Josh Allen finally gets that monkey off his back. He's Super Bowl MVP, and the Bills win their first chip.
I would
very, very tight, close, classic game.
I would hate to be Buffalo, New York when the Bills win the Super Bowl. Watch out for traffic lights and watch out for tables because they've been needing a Super Bowl for quite some time. That has to be one of the worst lucks in sports history, going 4 straight Super Bowls and losing all of them.
Yep.
All right. Awards. Now, Maddie, we prefaced it at the beginning. We have a new award to predict this year. So that we're going to include, which is the Protector of the Year. Now, I said we unfortunately cannot give it to, your dog or even Jordan's dog, unfortunately, for Protector of the Year, as much as we want to. But so as far as awards, what do you guys want to start with first as far as awards?
I mean, we can kind of start off with the MVP.
Start off with MVP? Start with a bang?
Yeah.
Maddie, you're going to stick to your Boomer Sooner guns and strike while the iron's hot and pick a Baker?
Baker is plus 2,500. That is sexy. I'm gonna take Lamar. I think that people are gonna look at this like the Jokic versus Embiid conversation. Jokic, fine. We're just gonna give it to Embiid and then back to Jokic. Mm-hmm. I think last year, like Allen balled out of his mind, but it was I feel like there was the photo fatigue. And it was like, we're just going to give it to Allen. It's going to be right back with Lamar Jackson this year.
Jordan?
I will be going with Joe Burrow.
You got to stick to your guns on that one.
Yep.
All right. Burrow.
Real quick note on the Rams quarterback. He is tied for 14th with plus 3,500 to win MVP. Do you know who he's tied with?
Who?
Bo Nix. Tied for 14th best odds.
Bo Chapman Nix.
Dude went from being the 12th pick one year to having the 14th best odds of winning MVP the next. So
that's pretty good.
That's fun.
Let's see.
Cameron Jordan Lopez Parker. Stalling over here.
I am.
Looks like you're stuck between two people.
Who are you stuck with? Let's talk this out.
I'm stuck between a non-offense, like a non-quarterback, and a quarterback.
Wow.
If Saquon didn't win it last year,
you ain't going to win this year.
A non-quarterback is not winning it this year.
Yeah, just say Bo. We all get it.
I'll go Lamar.
Lamar?
No. We'll go Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
Wow.
That's 2,000. 8th best odds. 7th best. Tied with Herbert for 7th best odds.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts, 50 combined touchdowns. Heard it here first, huh?
And then Offensive Player of the Year.
I'm actually stuck between two players here. And I'll say I'm stuck between Bijan Robinson and Justin Jefferson. And I'll be going with Bijan Robinson.
So, Bijan. He went to Texas too. Good school. What about you, Maddie?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh, I hate you, Maddie.
Ah, I was hoping that could have been my thunder.
I know a thing about Thunder.
So does the Lions with Thunder and Lightning, or Sonic and Knuckles.
So we got Depoy now. Oh no, you haven't picked, right, Cam?
It's Jameer.
Oh, it's Jameer too.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to Depoy. Does PS2 go back to back?
Wouldn't that be something? Because that'd be crazy. Because obviously corners don't win Defensive Player of the Year. It's rare.
Patrick Surtain doesn't even have the best odds on his own team.
I just saw that.
Zach Allen. Oh, Nick.
Nick Benito is plus 4,500. Soon to be re-signed, Nick Benito, within the next 24 hours, possibly.
That's what the streets are saying.
So I'll say this. I think it's just written in the stars. Michael Parsons will win Depoy. And then I'll say Nick Benito is top 3 in voting. And then PS2 will round out the top 5.
So
I think Broncos get 2 in the top 5 in voting.
in Benito and PS2.
Yep.
So you're also expecting a huge year. Excuse me. You're expecting a huge year from Benito then too.
I think Benito is scraping 15 sacks.
I think it's more than if it's 15. I also think my bold prediction is another pick 6 this year.
I can also see that. I just think Michael Parsons is going to go ape shit in Green Bay.
I mean, he's got to get an epidural every game, right?
Yeah, but I think he's gonna be just fine. I don't know, just a weird feeling I have. I think it's just written in the stars for him. Like if he has the same amount of sacks as like a Nick Benito, like he's gonna get over him or anybody else just because of storyline and all that.
What about you, Maddie?
So I'm playing off of your MVP, Jordan. If the Bengals are scoring 35 points a game, teams are going to have to throw a lot to keep up with them. And the newly not completely re-signed, right?
Yeah,
Just
he's not no.
better compensated for this year. Trey Hendrickson
Ooh.
is going to win defensive MVP, and then he's going to be getting stupid money next year
by not the Bengals.
With not the Bengals.
Which is awesome. Oh my god, the Bengals are such a dumpster fire.
All right. This one's tricky because if I choose him for this one, I can't choose him necessarily for this other one. For Defensive Player of the Year. My mind wants to go with Aiden Hutchinson here.
But you took the Vikings to win the division, right?
No, that was me.
Oh, okay. Interesting that you would take a Lion to win that, but the Packers then win the division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so it's one where I'm kind of tussling between Aiden Hutchinson, but I also know he's probably in line to be Comeback Player of the Year, or one of the few on a short list to be Comeback Player of the Year. And then obviously Micah. And I have kind of a dark horse here, and I may just kind of Yeah, you know what? I'll kind of go with a bit of a dark horse on this one. I'm going to say Xavier McKinney.
Whoa.
I mean, he had been kind of teetering on Defensive Player of the Year for a little bit.
Plus 10,000.
Yeah, I mean, so
Wow.
So what we got?
I know it's risky, but it's just like I know that he's been such a ball hawking. What is it? Safety for them, and he's racking up interceptions left and right.
God, I would love a Broncos Packers Super Bowl again. God, I would love that so much.
With us winning, obviously, and then Bo having a helicopter moment.
That would be awesome.
Harvey
now,
rushes for 3 touchdowns.
Harvey or Dobbins, whichever one we would prefer. Now,
But
the offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year.
Was it just one person?
Are you trying to say something here?
No, absolutely not.
yeah, for me, I'm not buying the Genty hype thing with the Raiders. I'm gonna be going with the number 1 overall pick. Give me Cam Ward.
God, you're so biased.
Is what it is.
What do you got, Cam?
All right, I'll take this one. I actually will go with, even though he'll be, I had the certain team finishing with where they were in the division. Travion Henderson winning Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Wowsters. That would certainly be something.
I mean, I like it. I'm going to get a little freaky with this one.
You mean the Travion Henderson? Oh, actually, no. Scratch that. I'm not saying.
Oh, so now you're just going to mention all the people?
No.
I hope he takes
Emeka Egbuka for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Same position.
I think I know where you're leaning.
Matthew Golden.
Yeah.
He has a golden opportunity here.
You're such a dad joke.
But it really is one. I mean, he steps into a prolific offense, wide receiver 1, day 1.
Theoretically, too, like their wide receiving core, it's okay. It's, and everything. But, yeah, there is no wide receiver 1. It's actually somewhat similar to the Broncos, except he's stepping in as kind of wide receiver 1, yeah.
I mean, because Reed is like, is he going to be healthy even? Is he going to get to play? We don't know. Maybe he's like limited. Obviously, Christian Watson, who knows? Dobbs is a stud. I like Wicks.
Savion Williams.
Like they've got good pieces there, and Jacobs is like an engine that can keep a lot running. I think Golden like steps in. Like, if I were to tell you 1,300 yards, 10 tutties, would you say that's reasonable?
Yes.
I think that gets him certainly in the conversation.
I think he wins that easily. If he gets 1,300 yards.
And he could do that. I mean, like, I'm a believer in, I wasn't at first, but yeah, Jordan Love, man, like in that system, man. Matthew Golden at plus 1,800, I think that's a mistake. I think he's misplaced here.
Out of curiosity, I'm not changing mine, but where is Jordan Love on MVP?
MVP Jordan Love, according to DraftKings.com, is plus 1,600. He is 6th behind Lamar, Josh Allen, Burrow, Mahomes. Oh, thank you, AFC. And then Jaden Daniels, and then Jordan Love.
Okay.
Wow.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Is it really going to be Abdul Carter? because he has 3 other monsters on that defensive line that are going to also eat.
Dexter Lawrence is coming back.
Yeah, so like, is he gonna have the numbers for it?
Who are you thinking then? The most obvious one in your location?
No, I'm not buying Travis Hunter.
Mike Green.
I'm thinking more of a Jalen Walker or Jahad Campbell, like a
Okay.
linebacker that just rakes up tackles. So I might be going with Jalen Walker.
Maddie?
Mike Green.
Mike Green.
Abdul Carter is like the obvious. Like that's low hanging fruit. There's a reason why he's only plus 225. And
I
then
just don't
second
think
is like plus 1200.
I don't know. I just don't think he's gonna have the numbers.
Because other people are going to beat him to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Who did you say, Maddie?
I said Mike Green.
Mike Green.
How the hell do they just continue to just get guys always slide to them? It just pisses me off.
Actually, so you guys kept it in the same, right? Because Mike Green is in Atlanta. No, Mike Green. No, Mike Green went to Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore.
I was thinking of who did they draft? Atlanta drafted like potentially 2 first rounders.
Got my guy.
I will say Jahad Campbell.
Not a bad pick.
Because I like the idea of, I mean, it should at least create opportunities for him, meaning Abdul Carter. But Kayvon Thibodeau should have been defensive rookie of the year that one year that he went into the league, and they still had somewhat of a stacked defense, and yet he didn't win. So, all right, comeback player of the year.
I think this one's fairly easy. I don't know about you guys.
Well, this is one where I was debating between like Aiden Hutchinson, Dexter Lawrence, and that's kind of where I was kind of leaning Aiden Hutchinson on this one.
All right. I'm going to go, even though I have his team to go third in the division, yet the other guy that I think will win it is also third in my predictions. I think McCaffrey is going to win comeback player of the year. I think it's McCaffrey then Hutchinson.
I actually think it's a little bit more competitive this year. It might be McCaffrey, though. I'm going to say Aiden Hutchinson. So you say C-Mac.
Yeah. I'm going with Hutchinson too. Here. Christian McCaffrey is sharp, but I think that they brought in Robinson Jr. for a reason. I don't see them giving like Christian McCaffrey 28 touches a game.
I do think the wild card one is Dexter Lawrence.
I think a wild card one could be J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
Where's he coming back from? This is great.
But,
He was never here.
I mean, it's the NFL. They usually botch it with, oh, he was injured last year. He was supposed to play last year and all that. So
Now,
he's up there in odds, by the way.
coach of the year.
This is an easy one for me.
Well, yeah, if you have the Broncos winning the division.
Yep, I think it's Peyton.
Is Peyton?
Peyton.
And Kay Adams will be there to present it.
I do think it's going to be Peyton, but Todd Bowles is going to be like he's plus 4,000, and I like that value a lot too.
So you're saying Sean as well?
I'm saying Sean as well, but like Todd Bowles at plus 4,000 is. I won't get us. It is ignorant. That'll be the word I use.
I'm saying Matt LaFleur.
And that is also reasonable, plus 2,000. But Sean Payton, I mean, you don't dethrone the Chiefs and then not get it.
Okay, so we have Coach of the Year. We have Comeback Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, MVP. What's left?
There's nothing else to bet on.
Yep, nothing else.
Oh, that's right. Protector of the
Year. Protector of the Year.
Protector of the Year.
I'm gonna go with a boring pick, but I mean he is probably I think he is the best tackle in the league. Going on Mario Cristobal's guy.
Yeah.
Penny Sewell.
Maddie.
It's hard for me to pick against the Lions when I said the offensive player of the year is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. And then I would go against the guy that's like helping make all that run. Sewell's very, very sharp pick. That's what I'm going with.
I will.
Cam is going to pick Luke Wallenberg.
Mekhi Becton.
Yeah. Like literally Protector of the Year.
Matty, do you have odds on that?
You can't bet on it.
No.
It is not available.
We'd love to see if they ever have odds on it. If and where is Quinn Miners?
I don't think he's mainstream enough still.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for hopping in. It was a true deep dive. We did 2 hours of a deep dive. So thank you guys so much for hopping in, Maddie. It's so good to see your beautiful face.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Good to see you hop on and everything. We have Broncos football on Sunday, and also, as we said, college football is back. Football is back in general. Football is back in general. The boys of fall are back. Go Big Red. Like, don't worry about the guy over there in the top right wearing a Canes hat or whatever. Go look. I'm biased to the Big 12. Go root for Maddie's. Boomer Sooner.
We're not Big 12 anymore, my guy.
But I'm just saying it's the biasness. Like the Big 12 of Oklahoma. Now that they're in the SEC, if you feel like you want to dip your toes a little bit into more of the upside, you can also root for Maddie's South Carolina, Gamecocks with a very raw wide receiver by the name of Nick Harbor, who made his name famous just because of a video game.
They got Dylan Stewart too, my guy.
And Dylan Stewart, who made his name famous because of a video game, as well as Sellers as well, because he's a bit overrated. But
he's
that's
the smart guy pick for the Heisman now.
Anyway, the point being, the boys of fall are back. Maddie is back, and we will be doing another show here next week where we'll be dipping into obviously more football and hopefully a Denver Broncos win. So without further ado, it is the first God bless Bo Nix of the regular season.
Let's go Broncos! God bless Bo Nix!
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flame out. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my